Ignore the shitty logo in the upper right.
Oh, you can remove that.
I can do anything with the power of movie magic. Wabams!
The power of Windows Movie Maker.
Wabams! That is the sound effect of me removing it right now. So, this is inspired by that really old now Fither video where they did like a Persona power level chart and then a Shin Megami Tensei power level chart. And I was like, I could do that. But with Sonic. But with some Sonic. That would be funny. So I made a Sonic character's power level chart. And now I must show it to the world. Let's explain it.
3 things. Chip, Charmy, Sassybot.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about because you just look at this and you're like, why the fuck is Chip at the top of the list?
Below Charmy.
Yeah. So, like, it'd be funny to just go through and explain, because I also just like talking about Sonic.
I had no idea. Holy shit.
So I have, like, also qualifiers when I talk about this, which is like, first of all, this is only the games. This isn't including any extraneous Sonic material.
But he used to be the king, though.
This isn't anything from the fucking comics.
Don't ignore me.
Nothing from the comics is real.
Sonic cry.
None of that happened. None of those characters are real. I don't care. They aren't canon. They never have been. They still aren't.
This character in Sonic's clothes.
Tangle isn't real. Cry harder. And I'm also not taking like any of the cartoons. Like Sonic X, I take as like kind of an informative,
Fuck up.
extraneous like asterisk, but it's not canon. Like if there's anything from the games that contradicts Sonic X, the games win, but I will use Sonic X to inform some things.
Go, 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 go.
And then the other thing is like, you know, you have to explain. Whenever you hear people talking about power level, you hear this term a lot, which is feats, quote unquote. And that really just means, like, if a character definitively did something, if they definitively accomplished something, you cannot argue that they can't do it. Like, my favorite example is always Dragon Ball Z, which is like, can Cell blow up a planet? He doesn't, so it's a question. Can he do it? I don't know. He doesn't. Can Frieza blow up a planet?
Yeah.
Yes. You cannot argue that he can't, because he did it.
This post brought to you by Frieza again.
Imagine not being able to blow up a planet. This post brought to you by the Frieza and Boo gang. So that's what people mean when they say feats, which is like, they did it. So, like, there's no debate. You can't get around that.
It is a close-ended question.
It is an accomplishment. But then there's the other thing, which is, like, quote-unquote gameplay feats, which are like, yeah, that happened because you were playing a video game, and you needed a win state for the boss fight that you were having. It's not canon. It's a gameplay feat. Like, Team Rose is not stronger than Team Sonic because you played as Team Rose and won the boss fight during that part of Sonic Heroes. That's just you were playing a video game.
Yeah.
So, like, some things are kind of hard to separate between, like, what did the character actually do versus what is just you're playing a video game. But I try to explain it as we go. So, starting from the bottom, in F tier, we have Elise. She's just there to represent humans. So, if you're looking at Elise on this tier list, this is all of humanity, basically.
Is Robotnik on this?
Yeah, like, Eggman's a human.
Right, okay.
Like, he's not anything special by himself. He creates robots, and that's what makes him a threat. But Eggman by himself is just a normal human person. So, like, This is all of humanity.
And side note, I do love that interview on Rob Paulson's podcast where he said, Tim Cummings played Mr. Robotnik, and Tim immediately corrected, no, Dr.
Robotnik.
Dr. Robotnik.
Dr. Eggman. Esquire.
Like, immediately. That show was like 30,
excuse
40 years old.
He went to fucking college. He earned that PhD.
Not that old, but still.
Yeah, so all of humanity, like, Eggman doesn't do anything. It's the robots. It's not like he did it.
He couldn't beat the shit out of Sonic himself.
No, it's the robots that he built. He doesn't get credit for the robot. Then we have Chow. They're
Self-explanatory.
They're shitty babies.
Chaos.
What do you want? Even the strongest Chow is still just a shit baby.
Jeez.
They don't do anything.
And then have a garden.
And then Sassy Bot.
Sassy
and
Bot.
Orbot and Cubot. They're just like they're janitor bots. Like they're just helpers.
Well, they're abuse takers.
Yeah, like they're not
abuse sponges.
These guys are here for like context.
Yes.
You need a frame of comparison.
Yeah.
So like there's not a lot to say. Obviously, they literally aren't. The F tier is like non-combatants. They can't do anything.
It's the level of Ekans and coughing in that episode with the giant Pokemon where they're like, what the fuck? We don't want to fight.
There's literally do not possess the will or capability of fighting. So then we go up to E tier, where I have a picture of Jet. He's just kind of there to represent side character who was in one game and then never seen again. So the Babylon Rogues, like, they don't do anything. They just can ride hoverboards.
Well, that's impressive. I probably couldn't do that.
Yeah, but they can't, like, they don't do anything. They ride on a hoverboard, and they don't even win at that. Like, they don't fight anyone. They never do anything. They just ride a hoverboard. And so then you can also put, like, side character who was in one game and then never seen again. Like, Marine the Raccoon, Vanilla the Rabbit, like...
Sticks the Badger.
Yeah, like Sonic Boom is a spin-off, so it's not on here, but you could put Sticks on that level. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone in Sonic Boom is E tier. If that.
Even Sonic.
Yeah, even Sonic in Sonic Boom sucks. And then we have the Eggbot from the Sky Sanctuary, which is just generic Batniks. Like, your average badniks.
Caterkillers.
Yeah, your Caterkiller, your Motobug, thank you. Like, just any generic badnik who's kind of rustling around. And also gun robots. Like, they are a serious threat to humans and Chow. And like side characters
and sassy bots.
And side characters like the Babylon Rogues could probably beat up a badnik, but by and large, like, if you have an army of badniks, which you usually do, it's gonna fuck up like anyone on F tier and like outnumber anyone in E tier. Like, people in E tier just can't stand up against badniks. Like, they're shitty mooks for our main characters, but they're serious threats to normies. So then you get to D tier, which is funny.
Yes, because it opens with...
We open with Charmy, and really it's just like Charmy, Cream, and Ray. This is like the sidekick tier. D tier is the sidekick tier. Like, classic Tails is D tier.
I do like the idea of Charmy beating the shit out of a Chow, though.
He might. Yeah, like, Charmy can, like, hold his own against a badnik without even help, but really, like, he doesn't do anything by himself. He's just a part of Team Chaotix. He's the sidekick, the kid tag-along.
He wouldn't be there if he couldn't beat the shit out of a badnik.
Yeah, like, again, this is like, I know in Knuckles Chaotix, he's OP, but that's just because that game sucks. It's not because Charmy B is powerful, it's because Knuckles Chaotix is not a very good game. What does he actually do in Sonic Heroes? He helps Espyo and Vector. That's kind of it. And then Cream's on here is another good example of gameplay feats aren't real, because in games, when you play as Cream, Cream is OP as fuck. Like, she just
Cream
destroys.
is as OP as you are.
She just destroys. Yeah, exactly. Like, Cream is strong because the player is using her broken-ass gameplay abilities to just demolish Sonic Adventure 2 or demolish Sonic Battle. That's not Cream's accomplishment.
Yes, Cream is dead.
That's you playing the game.
Yes.
It also comes down to, like, she's a child who doesn't like fighting. She's a pacifist. Like, she does not have... Even if she was capable of more, she doesn't want to. She doesn't like fighting. She doesn't like hurting people. So it's also, like, it doesn't matter how powerful you are if you're not going to use it.
Yes.
So that's why she's there,
Vanilla,
too.
on the other hand, is triple S rank, which is not on the graph yet.
Quadruple S tier.
Or
we have Vanilla the Rabbit with her with her MILF powers.
MILF powers.
And then Ray, like I said, Ray you can kind of just take as a stand-in for Classic Tails, who was not on the chart that I used for some reason. But Classic Tails, Genesis era Tails, D tier. This is sidekick tier, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and Ray, like, for the same reason, he's, like, Mighty's sidekick, more or less.
Mighty does beat the shit out of him accidentally.
yeah, he's just kind of, like, looking for Mighty. Like, this is just, like, tag-along characters. Cream is a tag-along to Amy, Charmy's a tag-along to the Chaotix, Ray's a tag-along to Mighty.
Ooh, I could say something that would make you mad right now.
Tails was a tag-along character to Sonic. Tails was a sidekick in the Genesis era. He's in D tier.
Moving on.
And then you have E102 Omega Gamma. He's just there as like a boss robot level. Yes. So like any boss fight you have in any given Sonic game that's just against a robot that's the level they're on. Like, Charmy and or Cream and or Classic Tails can hold their own against a boss robot, but, like, probably struggle.
They would need help.
Yes. So, like, you could also put Omega on there. I know that might make some people mad, but Omega never actually does anything. He doesn't accomplish very much, and I mean, he was built by Dr. Eggman. Like, he's not some super special, ultra, omega powerful robot that Eggman built. That's Metal Sonic. We'll get to him.
Oh, trust me, we will.
But, like, Omega, like, was built by Eggman, and then that's kind of it. Like, he doesn't get improved. He doesn't get enhanced. He just is a boss-level Eggman robot.
He shoved a squirrel into...
That's Metal. Yeah, Omega, like, he calls regular badniks worthless consumer models. That's all he does.
But he's very good at it.
Yeah. So then we get to C tier.
Which starts
with big, and this is big by, like, Sonic Heroes, because he takes a huge power jump in Sonic Heroes, because in Sonic Adventure, he's E tier at best. At the absolute best, he's E tier. But by C tier, apparently he just, like, really stopped fucking around.
He started working out.
Because he's the power group member of Team Rose. So he gets, like, equal accomplishment for what Team Rose does in that game.
Smack the shit out you with that fishing pole.
So for the same yeah, and in Sonic Adventure, if you run around and, like, swing the fishing pole, he blows up badniks with it. He just smacks the shit out of robots and destroys them. So, like, the Big is very strong. He has just raw power.
He's OP as fucking Sonic Team Racing.
Yeah, like...
Jesus.
He's the backbone of Team Rose. And then Vector is also on here because... for kind of the same reason that Big is, he's the power group member of Team Chaotix.
I do like the spread of Team Chaotix.
Yeah, like, Vector doesn't do all that much by himself. There's not really anything you can point to that Vector does, and it's like, that is an accomplishment for Vector. It's just kind of Team Chaotix as a group working together. And, like, he is, like, an investigative detective. He can operate independently, but we never really see him do anything. So to me, it just makes sense that he's like, okay, Big and Vector are both the power
It's a band.
Yeah, they're
He's the
both.
bassist. He
Yeah,
can't
they're
just be the
both.
bassist.
They're both the muscle of their
Yeah.
respective teams, so it makes sense for them to be on roughly the same level of power.
Yeah.
And then you get classic Sonic, which is great as like for context, because this is Sonic in the Genesis era. This is Sonic 1, 2, CD, and 3. Sonic is on C. He handily beats everything that Eggman creates without even really a struggle. And Sonic gets way stronger later on, but it's good to have Sonic as, like, classic Sonic as context, because classic Sonic does interact with future characters, and he's not as strong as they are. But he is stronger than everything in the Genesis era. In his world. and then Amy's also on here. This is Amy, like, modern Amy. Like, if you wanted to take Sonic CD era Amy, she's on E tier. But modern Amy is C tier, because she, like, gets her little character development at the end of Sonic Adventure, and she does beat up a boss-level Eggman robot. She beats up Zero. Like, handily, by herself, without any qualifiers. She just beats him. So she's stronger than Eggman boss robots. And then in Sonic Heroes, she, like, gets, partial credit for what Team Rose does. And which is beating Eggman. Like, they have Eggman boss fights. So, to me, it just makes sense that, like, Amy is now about as strong as classic Sonic was. Time travel.
It does make sense.
B tier, starting off with Tails, is the one where you have to kind of justify it a little bit more. Because, like, look, okay, Tails is my favorite. He is. I have a lot of merchandise
It's all right there in the
of
dining
Tails. He's my favorite character. He's not that strong.
room. Not strong. Not strong.
He doesn't.
Well, he's a tinkerer. He's a techno.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. Is like his strengths are in a different field. He's
Yes.
not a fighter. After Sonic Adventure 2, he kind of realized, like, I don't have to just emulate Sonic.
Yes.
I don't have to try and do what he can do to have value.
He will build something that will kick your ass.
Yeah,
His creations are higher on the tier list than he is.
Yeah, if this was like an intelligence tier list, like, Tails would be at the top, Eggman would be just under him, and almost everyone else would be at the fucking bottom. Like, Tails is the smartest character, bar none. He is smart. He is smarter than Eggman, period. But in terms of power, he just kind of stops after a certain point. He gets stronger than he was, and he can handily beat Eggman by himself, or anything Eggman builds. But aside from that, he doesn't really accomplish that much. Like, people always say, like, well, he fought Chaos 4. No, he didn't. You were playing as him during the part of the story where the Chaos 4 boss fight happened.
Your character's skin was Tails.
That's not...
You beat
Yeah,
that.
that's not a feat. Tails did not beat Chaos 4. You were playing as Tails, and you fought Chaos 4 as Tails. That's gameplay. It didn't cut to a cutscene with Tails standing over Chaos's puddle, having beaten him. Like, that was just a shared boss fight between Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, because they all intersected at that point in the story. He never fights Chaos. He never really fights anything except Eggman. So you can say he's definitely stronger than Eggman. And he's stronger than classic Sonic, because he kind of, like, takes classic Sonic under his wing almost during Sonic Forces. Like, he is the one who is... Classic Sonic is his sidekick in Sonic Forces.
Chaperoning classic Sonic.
But in terms of raw, like, fighting ability, Tails kind of stopped fighting after a while. He just kind of is like, I don't do that anymore. And that's to the credit of his characterization, but, like, I'm sorry, Tails is B tier. He's my favorite, but I'm sorry, we have to go by what they accomplish. So then you get Espyo, and to me, Espyo, it makes sense that he's higher up than most other characters, because he's an actual ninja. Like, he is actually a ninja. which means he was trained in ninjutsu, which means he has actual martial arts training. And I don't think any other character has actual martial arts training.
Aside from Charmy, again.
Like, Espyo is the only one who you could say has, like, been taught. Everyone else is just kind of fucking around.
He can find 7 lethal uses for everything on the table when you're at lunch.
Yeah, like, his reflexes are incredibly, like, attuned. We see in cutscenes he can just, like, throw a kunai across the room with, like, expert precision. And the other thing that puts him over to me is he was in Sonic the Fighters. So we've seen him throw down. So as far as I'm concerned, that kind of ends the argument right there for Espyo. And then Mighty is also on B tier because, well, like, you may or may not know this, but Sonic was originally supposed to be in Knuckles Chaotix, but then they decided not to for some reason, and they recolored Sonic's sprite in Knuckles Chaotix to be Mighty. And in Sega Sonic, which was like an arcade game, like a trackball arcade game in Japan only, Mighty is a playable character in that. So to me, that means like Mighty was like on the same level as classic Sonic, and then what he can do in Sonic Mania Adventures puts him over. Puts him up into B tier. Like he took a level up into B tier because of what he does in Sonic Mania. And then you can also put Classic Knuckles there. Classic Knuckles also, I think, would be in B tier because, like, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but you fight Knuckles in Sonic 3 and just beat him in 3 hits. But what settles it for me is Knuckles punches Super Sonic out. Like, he punches Super Sonic so hard that he knocks the Chaos Emeralds out of him. Like, it was a sucker punch, but Knuckles still punched Super Sonic's lights out. So to me, that's just like non-debatable. That is not gameplay. That is a cutscene. Knuckles punches Super Sonic, the end. So then we get to A tier, which is like really cluttered. I wanted to like space them out a little bit more, but I just couldn't justify it. So we start off with Metal Sonic, and this is Metal Sonic at the end of Sonic Heroes. So this is Metal Madness, Metal Sonic. And Metal Madness needed like 4 teams of 3 members each, all working together, and then also Sonic and Tails and Knuckles going Super Sonic, Super Tails, and Super Knuckles in order to beat him. So it took 3 adventure-era super characters in order to put Metal Madness Metal Sonic down. So to me, that's like, he's like as high as you can get in terms of a power level without getting to like straight up apocalypse levels.
Getting to God tiers.
Like if you want to get like city destroyers, you could say, right? Like
legendary Pope.
Yeah, like he's like final boss level, definitively. And like it's hard to say after that because like Metal Sonic just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. But to me, Sonic Heroes is very definitive in what he's able to do and what it took in order to put him down. And then you have Gadget, aka the Avatar rookie character from Sonic Forces. This is again him at the end of the game because at the beginning of the game he's E tier, but then he just shoots up all the way up the list over the course of a single game because he like is not only like physically capable of fighting through armies and armies worth of badniks by himself, but he also is able to use the power of the Phantom Ruby. And the Phantom Ruby is what lets Infinite do all of the crazy world-ending shit that he can do, and Gadget can use a prototype, quote-unquote, version of the Phantom Ruby. And it's like kind of inconsistent. It's not clear it's not super clear on what exactly that means, but like Infinite uses a power to like destroy the world. Like he summons up like an apocalypse level extinction event, and Gadget counteracts it, and just he Star Platinum the world's Infinite's power, but it's a prototype and it breaks afterwards. So to me, it just makes sense that Gadget is a step below Infinite.
Because that is, in fact, what it takes to be Infinite.
And then you have Silver. Silver's here because he fights Infinite and just straight up loses. He just gets beaten down hard. Like, it's not even an argument. They fight, and Silver just straight loses. So, like, to me, Silver should be, like, way up in Triple S with the other boys. Because he's because of what he does at the end of Sonic 06, and because he's a psychic, he should just be way stronger than he is, as far as I'm concerned. But he's not. He loses. He fights Infinite and he loses. You can't take that away. You can't argue against that.
It was just a bad day.
he was having a rough time.
Yeah.
He should be up there with the other hedgehogs that he fought the god of space and time with, but he fights Infinite and he loses. I'm sorry. And then you have Blaze. Blaze makes sense to put there because she's kind of, in Sonic Rush, she's kind of propped up as being like Sonic's rival character for that game, so she's like roughly at the same level that Sonic was at that point in the series. She's one of the very few characters who has a super form. She has like the burning blaze mode, which is like the answer to the supersonic mode. And she's also kind of an analogous to Knuckles in her own universe, because she's like the guardian of the magic emeralds. So it makes sense to me, based on what she does and like what role she fills in her universe, that she's on the same level as Knuckles. Not a lot of debate there.
And she's with Silver.
Yeah. It makes sense that she's also on the same level as Silver for that same reason. Rouge is in A just because she fights Knuckles to a standstill. They fight in Sonic Adventure 2 and it's inconclusive. They're both out of breath.
Fuck this.
At the end of their boss fight, neither of them won or lost. So it makes sense that they're on the same power level to me. She doesn't have that much else going for her, but that's hard to argue against. And she's also like the most versatile. She's also the most versatile Sonic character. Like, she's a, freelance secret agent. She's a cat burglar. Yeah, she just she's morally ambiguous.
Yeah.
So she's
Ada Wong.
She's the most like kind of all-rounder out of the cast. She can fill a support role. Yeah. She's like the answer to Knuckles in Sonic Adventure 2, but then she's the flying party member in Sonic Heroes. And like, she's the most versatile. So
she's the Ms. Mouse.
Yeah, she's really high up there. And then Knuckles, who, like, as the series goes on, Knuckles kind of has less to do. But Knuckles is just outrageously strong. The things he actually does are just like, shut up. He is that strong. He can punch boulders in half.
Yeah, like basically his character is that he's strong.
He is the strong guy, and he doesn't have superpowers.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, like, he's not a robot. He doesn't have augmentation. He doesn't have psychic powers. He doesn't have fire abilities. He's just really strong.
It's all those grapes.
Yeah, it's all the grapes. And what cinches it for me is, like, again, Sonic X isn't canon with a capital C, but what's interesting for me is there's a scene in Sonic X where Shadow and Knuckles are fighting. And Knuckles is, like, holding him back. And Shadow has to pop his limiters in order to put Knuckles down. And Shadow has only had to do that, like, 4 times grand total in the entire Sonic franchise across all media. So that just puts it over for me. Is that Knuckles is just that strong. On the same level as a space armada of battleships. So then you get up to S tier, which to me is like...
Because Japan thinks S is better than A.
Yes, obviously, that's the reason. Which is like, this is like world threats.
World-threatening characters.
Yeah, these are apocalypse-level characters. And you have, like, obviously you have Infinite...
Which makes it so funny that Chip is...
We'll get to that! So you have Infinite who, like, it takes him 3 days to build up to it, but he creates... Like, he uses the Phantom Ruby, which is weird how the powers of the Phantom Ruby works. Like, it's said in Sonic Forces that he, like, makes the Matrix a reality, basically. Like, if your mind thinks it's real, then it becomes real. Like, that's his power. He, like, throws things at your blind spot and it hurts you. And so, but then also in Sonic Mania, the Phantom Ruby, like, teleports you through time and space. So it's kind of inconsistent. It's kind of not clear and super explained, but he creates like a sun and throws the sun at the planet to kind of like, for all intents and purposes, wipe out all life on Earth. It took him 3 days to build up to that. But he does do it. And if it wasn't for like Gadget with the prototype Phantom Ruby, it would have killed everyone. He would have killed everyone on Earth.
And all plants. And bugs,
and
like everything.
Anything that has a mind to be tricked by his powers. And he beats Sonic at the beginning. They kind of like gangbang him at the beginning of Sonic Forces. But then he gets beaten later, obviously. But like, he's apocalypse level threat. And then you have Zavok.
What animal is Infinite, is he?
He's a jackal.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-Phantom Ruby, just normal Jackal Infinite is like E tier. He just gets wasted. I'm not weak. So then you get Zavok. Zavok is representative of the Zeddy as a whole. And what makes the biggest impact to me is that the Zeddy fight Sonic as boss fights. Just straight up. Like, they're not empowered by a mystical energy from a magic emerald. They're not riding a giant robot mecha. They just straight up walk. They walk up to Sonic and just fight him. And they lose. They get their asses kicked, but they just fight him. That is like, they are an actual legit sincere boss fight against Sonic. That is a major deal.
All they do is show up.
All they do, and then also they have like power over metal. Like they're a species of Magneto, basically. They're a species of Magnetos, basically. So if it were just that they are like that physically strong, they would be an A tier. But the fact that they can control robots and use a robot army, that puts them over. Because they could, if no one else was in their way, they could take over the world with their extra powers. So it's kind of like the opposite of Infinite. Infinite is weak by himself, but the Phantom Ruby bumps him up. The Zeddy are strong by themselves, and also they could use this extra special power if they wanted, if they needed to, in order to put themselves over. And then you have SS tier, which is casual apocalypse, aka God tier.
Apocalypse.
This is where just straight up gods go. Like actual legit god stated to be a divine entity. So obviously Chip is on there.
Clearly he is number 2 out of 3.
So Chaos is on there. He is the god of destruction. He destroyed the world. canonically, he did it. He actually destroyed the entire world, and only Angel Island was spared because, like, it's implied that the Echidna Empire was world-spanning, and only Angel Island was spared because it was thrown up into the sky, and Chaos destroyed the planet. And he was going to do it again. He just wrecked Station Square in, like, an hour. He got the 7th Chaos Emerald, and then boom, within, like, an hour.
On his way to lunch.
Station Square is rubble. So, like, he could have done it again, and the only reason he doesn't is because of Supersonic. And then you have Chip,
Then you have Chip.
a.k.a. Light Gaia. So Light Gaia is the equal but opposite answer to Dark Gaia. And Dark Gaia in Sonic Unleashed is genocide incarnate.
Genocide City Zone?
It is the, like, anthropomorphic representation of the malevolent intent against all life on Earth. Like, it's Nyx from Persona 3. Like, it's just it's like a cycle that happens every couple thousand years or so, which is just like, Dark Gaia shows up, wipes out all life that exists, and then Light Gaia shows up and kind of restarts it all over. So he's the equal but opposite equivalent of the apocalypse. So, like, by that same logic, it's like, if you can destroy all life, something that can create all life is just as powerful.
If not more so.
Yeah, and like, he uses, like, mystical powers in order to create a temple mecha in order to fight Dark Gaia with it, and they are toe-to-toe. So again, like, Dark Gaia is an apocalypse, an actual sentient apocalypse. Light Gaia fights them to a standstill. So they are on the same level.
Sentient Genesis.
Yes. So Dark Gaia is a sentient genocide. Light Gaia, aka Chip,
That fucking picture.
is a sentient Genesis. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some ice cream.
Yeah. When they put it on that tier maker thing, they did not expect you to put him there. That's all.
That's where he goes. It's where he goes. He is an actual
saying,
god.
Look at that picture. That's not where they thought he would go.
And then you have Mephiles. Mephiles is kind of like representative of Iblis and Solaris. They're all kind of the same entity. And Mephiles gets like so many bonus points because he actually kills Sonic.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Only character in the entire franchise to actually kill the main character.
Straight up hard murd.
Straight up murdered. And Iblis, like, causes the end of the world. It's the whole thing for Silver. Silver fights Iblis constantly on a daily basis and can never beat him. It destroyed the entire planet, and Solaris is the god of time and space and unmade all of reality.
You know.
And it took the three hedgy boys going super in order to put Solaris down. So, like, Mephiles is, again, just casual apocalypse level. Like, it would not take any effort whatsoever for Mephiles to cause the apocalypse. He was just focused on kind of clearing the field.
He had other shit to do.
Yeah. Like, you have to get you have to, like, prep, because if you can destroy the world, it doesn't mean much if they just beat you afterwards. So then you get to the Maineiacs in Triple S.
The
boys, like, where else can you put them?
The boys.
What argument can you have against this? Obviously, Sonic and Shadow are the single most powerful fucking characters in the entire franchise.
If Sonic were real, he would be worshipped as a deity in some
He's
form.
kind of worshipped as a deity now. Like, Sonic beats every character on this list.
Yeah.
He just beats them. Like, and it's said he gets more powerful. Like, Infinite is called Infinite, but Sonic is the one who has the infinite capacity to get stronger. He's like X in Mega Man, where it's like, it's a variable that can be any number, depending on like the situation.
Power level N.
It's like, it's really just like, The only limit is, does he need to do it? The only thing stopping Sonic from doing something is the need for it to be done. He beats every character on this list. He is faster than the speed of sound. Many people have argued he's faster than the speed of light. He
accidentally
gets progressively stronger and stronger. It's stated in universe multiple times in game that Sonic gets stronger over time. Like when he's fighting Infinite, he says, unlike robots, I can grow, I get more powerful. Infinite beats him, and then 6 months later, after sitting on his ass doing nothing, he's able to fight Infinite and just handily bounce him down. And here's my favorite example, as always, is Sonic accidentally learns how to teleport. Sonic is able to break himself down molecule by molecule,
at will,
atom by atom, and move those atoms through physical matter and space, and then recombobulates his matter into the same form that it was before, just because he didn't know he couldn't do that. Literally, he was able to do that because he thought, well, I should be able to. I mean,
not?
Shadow did it earlier, and then he goes over and meets Shadow, and Shadow goes, what?
I don't do that.
That's not the same thing. That's not what, how did, like, seriously, the only thing stopping Sonic is, like, does he know that he can't do that? And the answer is usually no. And then Shadow is on the same level as Sonic because Shadow is as strong as Sonic. That is consistently shown throughout the series that they are an even match. The only, like, qualifier is, like, Sonic will do something before Shadow, but Shadow will quickly catch up to it. Because Sonic learns how to teleport by accident. And then Shadow goes, oh, we can do that. And then he can just start doing it.
He copies off the homework of Sonic.
Yeah.
So like, he might as well just be able to do it.
Yeah, they're kind of like two sides of the same coin, appropriately enough. Like, Sonic is the performer. He just kind of flies by the seat of his pants. He follows, like, his own passion and just kind of makes stuff up as he goes. Shadow is more creative in utilizing their abilities, but he can't think outside the box. He's never gonna, like, have a creative answer to something in terms of, Shadow will go, like, what should I do in this situation? I can do this and this and this. Which one of those should I do? Sonic will go, what should I do in this situation? Oh, I'll just do this. And just make something up. And just, like, pull it out of nowhere. But the instant Shadow sees him do that, now Shadow can do that. And probably do it more creatively. Like, Shadow is the one who starts just teleporting around willy-nilly. Like, after Sonic Adventure 2, he just starts bamfing all over the place because now he knows he can do that after he saw Sonic do it. And he can throw, like, chaos energy. He can manifest chaos energy and shoot weapons out of his body from nothing.
Well, it's like you don't have to outrun the lion, you just have to outrun your friend.
Yeah.
It's like he can do everything Sonic can, so he just has to wait for Sonic to show what they both can do,
Exactly.
and then just do it.
Exactly. They have the same capacity, but, like, Sonic is, like, the discoverer.
Yeah.
And Shadow, like, figures out what to do with that. So, and it's also implied that Shadow is not as fast as Sonic, but he can keep up because of the skates. Yeah, so that's, to me, that is the Sonic tier list. Pretty definitive. I don't think there's that much you could argue against.
There was a slight revision, but...
Yeah, I added Badniks. I added Eggman robots to kind of, like, make things make more sense. But to me that makes sense. And again, going strictly off of the video games. There's some characters who aren't on here. If there's a character that you could be like, where the F's? Merlin. Where's Merlina? I don't know. A tier, I guess. Like, what do you want? There's so many characters in Sonic. I had to just go with the main cast.
It's only been going on for like 30 years.
I had to go with like the big Mamma Jamma villains and the main characters. So, and again, Eggman's F tier. Goodbye.